I'm frozen.
No, we're live. We're live. All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna wait a couple seconds so that the live can get live. If you know what I'm talking about, we got this on Facebook. We have this on YouTube, and pretty soon I think we're gonna do some of these on Instagram. I'm not sure how we're gonna do it yet, but that is the plan. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We want to thank you all for being here tonight. You literally could have been anywhere else in the world doing anything else, but instead you're here with me tonight. We have a special guest tonight. I want to give a round of applause to Angelina. She is our director of communication. Oh, this way. We're gonna get that right one day. One day. But she is our director of communications. She is going to be here with us tonight. And also later on, we are going to have the assessor himself, Rich Kagi, on with us also. So just hang tight. Teresa Chandler, how are you doing? Thank you for being here. Some housekeeping things before we begin. Our team is here tonight. All of our staff are in the comment sections. They are here to make sure your questions are answered. So if you have a question, but you kind of want to do it now, because you don't want to forget or whatever, go ahead and type your question. Also, share this presentation. Click the like button. Click the subscribe button. Do everything, guys, because the more engagement we get, the more our platform grows, the more information the taxpayers of Cook County will receive, the better this is for everyone. So like I said, shout out to Teresa, shout out to Priscilla, Michelle, Maura, Angelina, Kelvin, Nicole, the whole team. Priscilla's in here as well. We're here to work tonight, guys. So without further ado, what are we here for tonight? What are we here for tonight? We're here to talk about certificate of heirs, right? Now, I know that you guys usually watch us and see us, and we're talking about appeals. And when we talk about appeals, very often we talk about certificate of heirs in there also. Well, those are a little bit different. Tonight, the certificate of heirs that we're going to be talking about are for people who missed their exemptions, right? So very quickly on the screen, we have the link to our certificate of heir section on our website. So go ahead. I'm going to wait a second, let you guys take a screenshot of this, take a picture of it, type it into your browser, whatever you want to do. I'm going to give you guys a second to do that while I set up our presentation. Tonight's going to be great. All right, so let's get to work. So very quickly, my name is Hector Dominguez. I am part of the outreach team from the Cook County Assessor's Office. Thank you for being here tonight. We have 14 viewers. I want to thank you all for being here. It's dinner time right now, so you could be eating, but instead you're here with us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Our office, you guys know this already, our office has been closed since March. To safeguard everyone during COVID, we did reopen, so we are open now, but in order to go downtown, you must make an appointment. You can do that on our website, cookcountyassessor.com, and then it's right on the homepage, literally the second or third line down. So we want to make sure everyone knows that we are working, we are here, we are doing everything that we humanly possibly can to make sure we're there for all of the taxpayers within Cook County. The purpose of this video is to help anyone who's trying to file a certificate of heir. We will be answering questions at the end of the video, but please, if you're like me, I have to write my question down, otherwise I'm going to forget. So go ahead and do that now. Put your question in the comment section. We will go through them. We have our team in there right now answering questions also. That way you're not scrambling at the end. You're not scrambling at the end to try to get it in, you know? So go ahead and do that. And lastly, this is part of a series of videos that we have been creating. We will continue to create these as our needs increase, right? We do appeal videos, we do certificate of heir videos, we do Q&A videos. Today was our first Instagram live video from an outreach that we were doing. So we're trying to make sure that we're as accessible as possible. So let's do this tonight, ladies and gentlemen. If you're wondering, okay, I've used the word exemption a couple times here tonight, and maybe you're a veteran. Maybe you've been doing this for 150 years and you know exactly what I'm talking about. Or maybe you're brand new. Maybe this is your first home. Maybe you have no idea what's going on. No problem, no pressure. This is how we're going to get it in. So the word exemption, what does that mean? It is essentially a discount. We have different programs in our office that allow us to give taxpayers who qualify, right, discounts on their property taxes. How do you know if you're receiving your discounts? Well, allow me to share my screen and I will show you. Share. Beautiful. So this is a sample 2019 second installment tax bill. Normally, we don't do this. This is kind of part of the Cook County Treasurer's Office, but I've been doing this for so long that I want to explain what you're looking at very quickly. So anyone who owns property in Cook County, you received one of these. Here is your information, right? Your second installment tax bill for 2019. I whited out I redacted the information that was here just to keep the information of this taxpayer private. It was just some random person we found, and we just wanted to use their PIN number. So your PIN number would typically be right here. Your class would be right here. And then your discounts. Well, before we get to discounts, we always get the question is, why did my tax bill increase? If the assessor's office only increases, well, actually, let's reverse that. If the assessor's office only assesses property once every 3 years, how does the tax bill continue to increase even though the value stays the same? Very simple. If you look at this yellow box right here, you see these two portions highlighted in red. These are the tax levies in your area. These on the screen are the tax levies specific to Worth Township. There's 38 different townships, so there's 38 different variations of what you're looking at right now. These will all look different for everyone, but you can tell. You can see in 2018 that Worth Township only needed $4,700 from this taxpayer to survive. But in 2019, they needed $4,885 to survive. So these are where the increases actually come from. I know that's not something that a lot of people know about or want to wrestle with. But when we're looking to figure out what the truth is or what the answers are, here it is right in front of you. The numbers don't lie. This is where those increases come from. Now, where can you find your exemptions? Your exemptions are at the bottom left-hand corner of your tax calculator. This is what that looks like blown up. So now there's some very important information here on your tax calculator, actually. It has last year's assessed value. It has this year's market value, and then this year's assessed value. For those of you who are trying to figure out what the difference is, assessed value is essentially 10% of your market value. So for those who struggle with math, right, all you gotta do is take off a zero. Take off a zero, and that's what your assessed value is. Your state equalizer. The state equalizer is voted on by the Department of Revenue. They come together and say, what number does Cook County need to be equal with all the other counties in Illinois? So they decided this year to be 2.9160. Then you have your local township tax rate. Your tax rate, again, is what's responsible for the tax levies in your area. The assessor does not come up with this number. The treasurer's office does not come up with this number. The township you live in comes up with this number. And it's not even a number they come up with. These are just the taxing levies in your specific areas. Then underneath there, you see what your tax bill would be before any deductions. Now for the juicy part, right? Your 2019 taxes before exemptions are right here. Now we start listing the exemptions. The homeowner exemption, everybody's value is different. To calculate the homeowner exemption, you just want to do 10,000 multiplied by your local tax rate. And to figure that out, all you got to do is move the decimal point over. All you got to do is move the decimal point over twice. Sorry, that's my dog, Lexi. Move the decimal point over twice, and that's how you calculate your homeowner's exemption. This person obviously is not well, I can't say obviously, but this person is not a senior citizen, so there is no senior amount there. There is no senior freeze amount there. And there's also room down here for a persons with disability exemption, disabled veteran exemption, one of those. Fun fact, if you were to qualify for the long time exemption, you would not see that written down here. For whatever reason, the treasurer decides to write that information here. So you would see long time written right here if you did in fact receive it. So now, if you didn't receive your exemptions, are you eligible? Guys, to see if you're eligible, you got to see if you qualify. Very simple. Go to our website, cookcountyassessor.com. The assessor, this is the first time that the assessor's office has been able to process or allow people to file for exemptions online. This is the first year. Also, please keep in mind that if you received a homeowner exemption and a senior exemption last year, then it will be automatically applied going forward. Those are things we don't want to keep telling people to apply for because it just doesn't make sense, right? This is what it is. Super simple. So how do you apply for a certificate of heir? What I'm going to do is I'm going to explain the process, and then I'm going to show you the process. So to apply for a C of E, which is short for certificate of heir, the property must be eligible in that particular year that you're talking about, and you must have an ID proving a photo ID, valid photo ID, right? And any other required supporting documents to demonstrate the eligibility for that missed exemption. So a question we get every day is, well, I don't have a valid driver's license or state ID. Is there anything else I can use? Absolutely. On our website, we actually have a list. List A, list B, list C. Those different lists have different things that we can accept in place of a photo ID. There are 3 steps to when you are applying for a certificate of heir. Step 1 is just look at the form carefully. Obviously, go to our website, find which exemption you're looking for, but preview the form carefully and prepare documents to show eligibility for that tax year. All applications require a photo ID and a PIN number. And again, if you don't have a driver's license or state ID, and you might be saying, well, how can I not? Doesn't everyone have a driver's license or state ID? Well, yeah, but some people, like if I was a detective, my driver's license would not have my address on it, right? It would have a different address on it. So you just want to make sure, everyone's aware of what we're doing and why we're doing it. Step 2, after you fill out the application, you can contact, step 2, before you fill out the application, you can contact our office directly, cookcountyassessor.com, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Or you can contact your township assessor with any questions about any forms or documents, right? Step 3 is where you apply online. An email address is required so that you can track your application, but that literally takes 2 seconds. You can do it from your phone. You can do it from a laptop. You can do it from an iPad. I'm actually going to try to do it from my Apple Watch today or tomorrow just to see if I can do it. I just want to see if I'm able to or not. But let me share my screen again, and I want to show you how we do this. So let me make this a little bit wider for everyone. All right, so you will go to cookcountyassessor.com. Then from there, you would hover over to all forms and tools, and then you would scroll down to certificate of heir. Now here is the legal information you need to know, but also the different things that we need, the different steps that we need to take, the different forms that you can apply for. Step 1, step 2, step 3, which I already talked about. That's what we're covering right now. And then here's a list of where your exemptions are. You would click apply online for whichever one it is, and then you would just start your process. You do have to make an account, but I already did that, so that's why I'm logging in. All right, and then once DocuSign kicks in, beautiful, here we go. A little bit faster. You want to get rid of all the nonsense on your screen. So let's click that, get out of there, click that, boom. You just want to fill out this application to the best of your ability. Go ahead and put in your information. When you're putting in your PIN number, you don't need to put in a dash mark. It does it for you. Here is that list that we were talking about. of different forms of identification that we can receive. And this is where you would attach or upload your driver's license or state ID or whatever you have. Here's an occupancy affidavit that you must fill out. You go ahead and fill this information out, click finish, and bada bing, bada boom, you have your certificate of error. So let me stop sharing my screen. All right. So very quickly, because maybe you just jumped on, maybe you got here a little late. Don't forget, this is Facebook, this is YouTube, so you can rewind, you can fast forward, but you can definitely file for this online. It's super simple. If your ID doesn't match or the address that you're applying for, you will have to provide another form of identification, which is on those lists that we just showed you. A little sidebar. Some people have a unique situation to where they don't own the property, but they do pay the property taxes. Therefore, they do qualify for the exemptions. What does that mean? So let's say that I am renting from someone who owns a building. If my lease says that I qualify, my lease says I'm responsible for the property taxes and that I have to pay them, of course. Once I pay the property taxes and I prove that money's coming out of my account and not a third-party account, I can take that into the assessor's office. I can bring that proof, and a manager will then go ahead and give me the exemptions that I qualify for. So just fun fact for those of you all who may not own the property, but you have to pay the property taxes. And we do want to stress that the deadline for the certificate of heirs is tomorrow, September 11th. All right? September 11th. It's a very important date. That is the deadline for exemptions. One might say, well, hey, that's not fair. This is the first time I've heard about it. Guys, we've been accepting applications since February, right? And the treasurer was generous enough to extend the deadline for the tax bill. So we just have to do our due diligence as property owners, as homeowners, right? So you want to go ahead and do that. How do I transition? Okay, so let's say you did in fact forget or for whatever reason did not receive your tax bill. Two things are going to happen. So when you submit your certificate of error, if you have not paid your bill already, what will happen is you will get an adjusted bill. This means you will get a brand new paper bill mailed out to you, and then it will be reflecting the exemption that you're missing, right? On the flip side, if you pay your taxes through your escrow, your mortgage, your lender, what's going to happen is they may have already paid your bill. So now when you file for this certificate of error, you're going to get a refund. Now, that refund should go back to whoever paid the taxes. However, you can do whatever you want with that money. Just please note that if you don't give the money to the refund to whoever paid your taxes, you run the chance of having an overage in your escrow, and that's not good. If your CFE was declined for whatever reason, it could be because your exemption is already on the bill and I already showed you guys where to find that, or you already have a CFE in processing already. You can't do multiple. You can't do more than one of the same certificate of error. It doesn't work that way. So now what I want to do is go to my most favorite part of the night, the Q&A. Let's jump in. Let's do some questions. Priscilla says, I don't know because I don't read Spanish. Just kidding. If you guys have any questions in Spanish, if you guys need any help in Spanish, go ahead and write that information in the comment section. We will have someone reach out to you. Priscilla is our house translator. She goes in and she actually does a lot of different things. She speaks on the radio in Spanish. She does TV things in Spanish. So this is really cool. So she can definitely help you guys. If anyone needs help, go ahead and write that in there. How you doing, Susan? Nice to see you again. Awesome. Michelle, another one of our employees. Yes. How you doing, Michelle? All right. Priscilla says, oh, yes, good job, Priscilla. Thank you. We also accept, I don't know how to say this in English, but the matricula, the thing from the consulate, right? So some people don't have a driver's license. They don't have a state ID. They actually have an ID issued from the consulate, right? It could be the Mexican consulate, the Japanese consulate, Korean consulate. It doesn't matter. That we will accept also. Good job, Priscilla. Kim says, how far back can we go for the homeowners exemption and disability exemption? Great question, Kim. So as of right now, this moment that I'm speaking, September 10th, 2020, we can go back all the way to 2016. So we can do 2016, 2017, 2018, and the current year. So that's 4 years, 3 previous plus the current. That is going to change super soon. So you want to do that as quick as possible. And please remember that the deadline for all exemptions is tomorrow, September 11, 2020. Kim says, Kim says, does a mortgage statement provide the required documentation showing you have legal interest in the property? Absolutely not. That just says someone's paying for this. It doesn't mean that they own it. It doesn't mean that they live there. It doesn't mean that it's occupied. So you definitely want to make sure you check out the list that we have on our website of list A, list B, list C. Those are the things that we need to process certificate of heirs. How you doing, Joyce? Thanks for tuning in. I hope dinner is amazing for you. It seems like, hey, Angelina, it seems like that's it.
Let me ask if there are any more questions. I don't see any. So I have a question, though.
Talk to me.
What happens if, sorry, I'm also typing in the banner. What happens if a homeowner applies for a certificate of heir after the deadline tomorrow?
Okay, so if a taxpayer does, for whatever reason, they do try to submit a certificate of heir after the deadline, it will be processed, but it's going to be at a much later time. This deadline is to make sure we get everything done so that we can try to get it before the October 2nd, October 3rd deadline of the property tax bill from the Treasurer's Office. Everything after that, there is no guarantee that it will be done before the deadline of the Treasurer's Office.
Okay, so then at that point, a homeowner will have to pay the entirety of their second installment property tax bill?
So a taxpayer should pay the entirety of their property tax bill, but if they can't, pay as much as you can. And what happens is the late fee or the interest will be on a smaller amount instead of the full bill, if that makes sense.
Got it. Looks like we have one more question.
Joyce, I actually love talking about the senior freeze. So the senior freeze works like this. First of all, it doesn't freeze anything, right? So when we say senior freeze, people think my assessed value is going to freeze, my tax bill is going to freeze, I'll never have to pay anything again. That is not how the senior freeze works. The senior freeze offsets increases in assessed value. So in a nutshell, the higher your property value goes, you should be paying a greater amount. But because you're on the senior freeze, whatever the increase is, whatever that difference is, it's offset, and then you get a savings instead of being taxed on it. So someone like me who is not a senior, my value goes up, my tax bill goes up, the amount I have to pay goes up. If you're on the senior freeze, it's a lot different. The higher your property value, the greater your senior freeze becomes, the lower your tax bill becomes. And over time, we even have taxpayers who pay a zero tax bill because of the senior freeze. So the longer you're on it, the more beneficial it is.
Okay, looks like we have a couple more questions that came in.
Teresa says, my friend moved into her house this year. Can she submit the senior freeze exemption now? Absolutely not. Great question. So to qualify for the senior freeze, you have to be born in 1954 or before. You cannot make more than $65,000 as a total household income. And then you must have owned and occupied the property 2 consecutive January 1s. So that means January 1, 2018 and January 1, 2019. That last requirement is kind of the one that throws people off. So they had to own it both January 1s.
Okay, we have another follow-up question regarding the senior freeze exemption.
Joyce, you have to be born in 1954 or before. So the answer is yes, 65, but we go by the year. Here's why. I was born in 1987. I am 33 years old. My cousin was born in 1988. She is also 33 years old. We were born 6 months apart. So that's why we want the year. So 1954 before. If you were born 1955, you can apply in January, February of next year.
We have another question.
Kim says, what if someone sold the house property? Can they get a refund? I'm assuming you mean you sold the property but did not file for any exemptions. If that is the case, you absolutely can. You just got to prove it. So you just go to our website, fill out the paperwork, submit what needs to be submitted. Bada bing, bada boom, you got some money.
I've heard this one, Hector, as a follow-up to this, the homeowners exemption. So if they own the property, if the prior owner owned the property and they already had the homeowner exemption, does the new owner have to apply?
Great question. So Angelina, I bought the house off of you. You had the homeowners. You're asking if it will continue on to me.
Yes.
Okay, so that's a layered question. So here we go. The law says that the property must be owner occupied January 1. It doesn't say by who. So as long as the property was owner occupied January 1 of that year that we're talking, whatever year we're talking about, yes, they qualify. But here's what I would do. That exemption will be on Angelina's name, though. It will not say Hector. So I would just then the very next year fill it out on my own, even though I don't have to, so that it's in my name. So there is no nonsense. There are no questions. You know the times we're living in.
Got it. Thank you.
No problem.
Priscilla has a question.
Is my first installment of 2020, I'm assuming she means 2021, based on the CFE total recommended amount? It should be. So the first installment tax bill is always 55% of the previous year's tax bill, the whole year. So it should be, but it all depends on when you submitted your certificate of heir. There is a deadline. That deadline is what we're talking about. So there is a chance that that won't be reflected, but you can always contact our office and we could jump in and fix that. No big deal. Grizz, I could tell you guys are Dr. Seuss fans, so mine, I wish my cat in the hat was right here so I can grab it, but it's not. Sorry, I'm coming in late. What's an easy way to know if I need to file an exemption? Super simple. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. If you are, hopefully you're still watching, but if you're not, you can rewind and whatnot. Here's what your tax bill looks like. The bottom left-hand corner where it says tax calculator. Whoa, sorry, did not mean to do that. Where it says tax calculator, that's this information right here blown up. Your exemptions will be listed right here. If you're receiving them, you'll have an amount. If you're not receiving them, it'll say 00. So the question is, one, do you qualify for your exemptions, right? That's question number one. How do you know if you qualify? Go to our website, certificate of heir. It'll have all the requirements right there. If you do, just go ahead and fill that out, and then we will take care of it. Deadline is tomorrow, though. So you want to do this ASAP.
Sorry, hold on. We do have another question.
No problem. I see we have Crystal here. I closed in March. How often is this exemption application available? Great question. Every single year. Typically, every January, February. Not always the same date, but typically the same time of the year. I would encourage you, Crystal, to just look at your tax bill. You'll know if it's on there or not. Perhaps when you were at your closing, your attorney and their attorney worked it out. I don't know. That's nothing to do with our office, but it's super simple to check. Just look at your tax bill. If you see a 0, that means it's not there. Then contact our office and we'll see if you qualify for it or not. Next question says,
Oh, it's a long one.
well, here's the answer. So great job, Teresa.
Oh.
Thank you. This is the answer for the senior freeze question. So I'm gonna leave that up for a quick second, just so that anyone who has a senior freeze question can look here, take a screenshot, take a picture of it. Okay, we took it down.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to let you know, Assessor Kagi has joined the conversation, but let's put that back up. There you go.
Very quickly, go ahead, guys. Take a screenshot of this. Take a picture. These are the requirements for the senior freeze. I know we had a couple questions in here about that. We're gonna leave it up for another 5 seconds.
5,
4, 3,
2,
1. All right. Now, we have Assessor Kagi is here. We're gonna bring him in. How you doing there, boss?
I'm doing okay. It's dinner time around Casa Kagi. I got 3 kids, so it's a little crazy.
Yes.
My wife's a teacher, but we're making things work. I think we're like a lot of other Americans and doing the best we can. And I'm just so grateful to everyone here for being here tonight. I know it's probably pretty crazy out by you. We're all dealing with not only the typical things we have to deal with in life, but even the additional burdens of that come with life with COVID and tax season and everything else. So I'm really happy everyone's here. I'm glad to be with you.
Thank you. Shout out to your wife for being a teacher. My wife is a teacher, special ed teacher, and there's mac and cheese everywhere right now. So this is awesome. But go ahead, take it away, sir. I know you got a lot to say, and we want to make sure we give you enough time.
Well, and Hector, tell me what ground we've covered, and then I can be the cleanup man here, because I want to make sure I don't go over stuff you've already talked about.
No, for sure, no problem at all. So we talked about the reasons for certificate of error, what a certificate of error is, how to process. The due date is tomorrow, September 11, 2020. Why one would do a certificate of error. We walked them through the website on how to do it on their own. Also let them know they can always contact our office and contact their township assessors as well. And I was just about to close, so you go ahead and do what you want to do, boss, and then we can make it happen.
Well, I just wanted everyone to know that the certificate of error process is in place there to serve you. It's there to serve you, so take advantage of it. And it's there to serve you if there was a mistake made in the last 4 years.
Yes.
So if you didn't get that exemption, my father, he's now 83. I was just talking to him. When my mom died a couple of years ago, he's the cheapest guy in the world. Like, if he can save a penny, he will. But when my mom died, he was distraught. He was busy, and he forgot to apply for his senior exemption, which is, that's a lot of money. That's hundreds or thousands of dollars on the line if you don't have that senior exemption there. And so we worked really hard on our team to make sure that we got a bill passed in Springfield so that the senior exemption automatically renews. So not all the people are put in the same boat the way they were, but things can always happen. When you turn 65, you still have to apply for the senior exemption. So if you were entitled to it, but you forgot to get it, or if for some reason it was dropped, the certificate of error there is to serve you. If you paid property taxes on a property that didn't have that exemption, you are entitled to be returned back the money that's greater than the amount that would have been there if you had the exemption on. And that's what the certificate of error is there to do. So our team can make a real big difference to you, especially at a time like this, to make sure that you're only paying your fair share and that certificate of error process is there for you. We worked really hard to make these tools available online so you can stay safe and do it from your own home.
Absolutely.
Folks in Thornton have a really great team serving them at our Markham satellite office, and your township assessor is great. And so she is very experienced. She has worked downtown at the assessor's office, and so she's there to serve you. She works for free. And you're very fortunate to have her. People in Chicago don't have a township assessor to help them, but so you're fortunate that she's there to work for you. So take advantage, and our team is there to work with you too. We want to give you all these tools, but we can't make you do a couple of those steps. So that's why we're doing this event here tonight. We're so glad you're with us. And please feel free to ask any questions. The assessment system, it's only one half of our property tax system. The assessment system is the part that determines your share of the amount of tax that has to be paid in your community. And so that's why that certificate of error process is there when there was an error on valuing your property. Now, we know that there are many other problems with the property tax system that assessments don't control. So in the south suburbs, we have lots of communities where real estate values fell. And even if we got the assessment perfect so that you, me, and everyone else on this call agreed on what the assessment was, because property values have fallen so much.
Absolutely.
But the community still has to pay for the cost of educating its children and for keeping the lights on, for providing basic services and this healthcare safety net. The rates end up being really high because so much of the cost is pushed on to local government. I've been trying to raise my voice so that we have the state government, federal government taking on more of the cost of educating kids, which is the main thing that goes in your property taxes. The assessor doesn't control those taxes, but I still want to be that voice for you who talks to us every day about the high tax rates that an average person has to pay in the south suburbs that destroy wealth. And I wish the assessment piece could fix that. We are doing everything that is within our control to eliminate disparities in assessment so that everyone's only paying their fair share. But sometimes, even if it's a fair share of a giant amount, it's unfair. And so that's what I talk about and trying to raise my voice on. So
that's
awesome.
Not
directly relevant to our workshop, but I just wanted to get that out because I know I grew up on the south side of Chicago. A lot of my classmates moved to the south suburbs. They've told me about these problems. This is why I got into what I'm doing and what we're trying to do in our administration.
For sure. And we also just want to remind everyone, the city portion of the county does not have individual township assessors, but all the other ones do. So the southern portion, the northern portion. So guys, just go ahead and take advantage of all the resources that you have. I know that you have a super busy schedule. Do you want to go ahead and hop on some of these questions with us, or did you want to?
Yeah, let's go right into the questions because that's always the best part. And you don't want to just hear me talk. You want my talk to be relevant to you.
For sure. So Joyce Anderson says, is the senior freeze and senior exemption different?
Yes. So the senior exemption is something that everyone who is over age 65 is entitled to, regardless of income. And so if you're over 65, you're entitled to a senior exemption. And then once you have it, it now automatically renews.
Thank you for that too.
So when you turn 65, you still have to apply, but then it automatically renews. And regardless of income, every senior is entitled to it if that's your main residence.
And the senior freeze is just income.
Senior freeze is different. So senior freeze, it depends on what you get it if your income is below the threshold. And Hector, you want to tell them the threshold right now?
Yeah. So for the senior freeze, it is $65,000 as a total household income gross. Fun fact: it used to be $55,000. Before that, I think it was a little bit less too. So we're trying to just be fair. We're trying to be transparent. We're trying to be ethical, right? We're trying to make sure it's not your fault as a taxpayer that you had a great job and now you have a great pension or a great retirement plan or whatever. You're on a fixed income. So we're just trying to make that happen and make it fair for everyone.
Yep. And the senior freeze is it's one of the most valuable exemptions that there is. So if you qualify for it, you should apply for it. And it's more and more valuable if you're in communities where housing prices are rising. And this, even though COVID is creating uncertainty about this, there have been rising housing prices in a lot of places. And so take advantage. COVID has really been so devastating for so many people. We know that it's creating epic unemployment. It's happened so fast. More than half of Americans are reporting that they've either lost their job or they have diminished hours, which is just that's devastating. That's never happened before in American history. We're trying to do what we can with COVID. We're the first assessor's office in the nation to make sure that COVID is reflected in our assessments. We've also worked with the county to make sure that you only pay late fees on your tax bill you have a 2-month grace period now. So even though the property taxes were due to be paid at the treasurer's office in August, late fees only started accumulating in October. These are some of the things that we're doing on COVID. But the other thing that maybe you might not have qualified for the senior freeze before because your income was too high, but if your income is going to be diminished, if you've lost your job. Now, the COVID effect has not been felt in income yet for the senior freeze, but it will be. So you should know about this for next year.
Absolutely. If you did not qualify last year, you might qualify this year, or I'm sorry, this year, the next year. Let's do one more, boss, and then we will go ahead and close out. Joyce Anderson says, for the senior exemption, must you be born in 1954 or earlier? You answered.
All right. I'm pretty good with math, but doing math in my head is not my strength. So
yeah, so you did.
I bet you know this, Hector.
Yep, 1954 or before. Teresa says, what is the deadline for appeals for Bremen Township? The website says early September. Refer to the website. As of right now, there is no official dates, but check it daily. And follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, because when we have these announcements, that is where we post them, along on our website, of course. But that's where we post them, so you can just get the information a lot quicker, you know?
Yeah, COVID has been devastating, and it's caused us all to have to be flexible in many things, and that includes the work that we do at the assessor's office.
Mm-hmm.
So we have had some of the deadlines move a little bit because we send out inspectors to go out and look at building permits, and sometimes the demands of COVID are causing us to have to move them around. So sometimes those deadlines change. Be patient with us. Check the website. That's always the most up-to-date number. You can call us. One of the things that we've done that we're very proud of is if you call the assessor's office in the past, you might not have had a good experience before because we had long wait times. We had lots of calls get dropped. Our administration put into place a new call center system, which we've got the wait times down a lot. Most people just about everyone is staying online to get their call. We're tracking. People are dropped. So the customer service is improving, and give us a try if you ever have any questions.
For sure. Joyce says, Ms. Joyce, I think you're just thinking too hard. If you were born in 1955, you qualify next year. It doesn't matter what month it was in. As long as you were born in 1955, next January or February, that's when you can apply. If you were born in 1954 or before, you can apply right now. And
you can do it online now, right?
Absolutely. Hey, Veronica, another one of our employees is in here helping out. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Hey, Veronica.
Yeah, but this is a great question. How do exemptions work for rental properties? So we already covered this earlier, but maybe you just got here. It doesn't matter. I'm sorry, boss. Did you want to do this one, or you want me to?
Well, I don't want to give a slightly different answer from you, but if you don't own if the owner of the property is responsible for the assessment. Now, some people have leases where they are assuming some of the obligations of the property owner. It depends on the kind of lease that you have.
Exactly. Yeah. As long as the lease must say that I, as the renter, is responsible. I am responsible for the property taxes. Then I have to show proof that I paid the property taxes as the renter. Then I would take that into the Cook County Assessor's Office. They would then issue me the exemptions I qualify for. We're going to do one more, boss, and then we're going to get us all out of here, if that's cool. Let's see what else we have here. That's it. That was the last question.
Okay, well, thanks, everyone. You guys are hardcore. We hope we got your questions answered for you. We can all go back to our families and do the other things that make. Well, we got one more question, Hector. Did I miss something?
One more thing that I think you should know, boss, because I just think it's very important that people understand that this is not easy. This is not easy. That this is something we did have to try to kind of put into practice. So we do have a comment here that is just saying, I'm sorry, hold on. There it goes. Monica Soto says, I've been exceptionally impressed with the engagement and responsiveness of your office. I recently came across all of the Facebook Lives and video recordings your office has put out, and I found them extremely helpful. I wish other government offices would do the same. Listen, we're not here to compare and say who's better and who's not, but we try to do our best.
Well, I just want to say thanks to the questioner, because it puts wins on our sails. You know, my wife's a teacher, and one of the things that's hard about teaching when you do Zoom is you don't get that positive feedback, that wonderful positive feedback that comes from teaching and seeing a child learn. Our team, which works with the public, they all do this because they like to serve you and they like to help people.
Facts.
And it's natural. It's human that it's harder to do this when we're doing this all over a phone. So a comment like that means so much to them. You got real people on the other side of the screen here, and it means a lot. So we say that with heartfelt thanks, and thank you. We appreciate it.
Awesome, boss. Do you want to close us out?
Well, hey, let's all get back to our families. I hope we've shown you that we can answer your questions here. Remember that deadline coming up tomorrow. We got the Markham office that can help you. Call us on the phone. You got your township assessors ready to help you out. We're doing all this. We're here to help. We're trying to use all the resources that we can. Tell us what you think. If there's anything that you need, we'll try to provide it. We try to do a lot of things on the technology side that are making a big difference for the kinds of things we're talking about today, and we'll continue to do more. But that feedback, it's got to be that helps us to know what to focus on. So thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Assessor, for being here. Thank you, Angelina. Thank you, Veronica, Priscilla, Michelle, more, everyone in the background. Thank you, guys. You guys know how we do this. We want to thank everyone for being here. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you're here with us. So thank you very much. Be safe, be wise, take care of each other, and most of all, be blessed. You guys have a great night.
Okay, thanks. Take care, everybody.
Night.